right, everybody. If you're joining us here, you're in the right spot if you're here to join the industrial manufacturing webinar. As people filter in, I hope you're enjoying the journey and some of the good music to get us started here. I wanted to put up a poll here to get folks engaged. So if you could, please take a moment, engage with this. It's just, we'd like to understand some of the key challenges that you face today as a manufacturer. All you need to do is scan the QR code on the bottom right. It'll take you to just a quick poll and you rank these. So would love to get your thoughts on some of these challenges to you. And we'll bounce these off of what we're seeing in the market here later on in the presentations. Love the music. Great choice, my friend. All right, everybody. Well, I think a good amount of folks have started filtering in. So thank you all. Looks like everybody's been engaging with the poll. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So, we've all been doing this a long time. Not surprised to see some of these results here. It seems like a lot of aging legacy systems in the market. Many industrial manufacturers have multiple different legacy ERPs or MES systems or data collection tools. So not surprised to see that fluctuating customer demand. A little surprised to see that at the bottom, but really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Jim, as he goes through some of the challenges here in a little bit, we'll see how that bounces off what we see in the market. So, all right, folks, we'll get started here. Let me kick things off. So I'm going to be your maestro here today. I'm going to introduce the team, and as they come on throughout the presentation, they'll all say a little bit more about themselves. But my name is John Paquin. I'm a director of sales based out of Kansas City, Missouri. I got about 15 years in Oracle supply chain, logistics, and enterprise mobility. And we're really excited to have a featured guest speaker here today and our valued customer, Jason Rigg with Taylor Corporation. Jason's so kind. He's actually on PTO this week and today, joining us from sunny Florida. So I know he'll be excited to get this over with and get back out on the beach with his family. So thank you, Jason. And then over on the right side, each of these three gentlemen joining today, they have over 25 years background experience each in Oracle ERP, supply chain, and mobility. So Jim Hoskins, worked with him throughout my career. He's our senior director of solution engineering, has a really strong background in mobility and in industrial manufacturing. Arvind Botwal, he leads our supply chain practice as our VP of FlexiPro SCM. Actually on site with one of our customers today in Kansas, and he's just a rock star. He knows everything in regards to Oracle, Fusion, EBS, and mobility. Vishnu Agrawal, again, just another strong functional technical Oracle expert that has worked closely with Taylor Corporation over the past year. So I know him and Jason have become best buddies throughout this project, and we're really excited to have him on the team. So as we get started, in a little bit of background on Intellinum and how we support the Oracle ecosystem. Really, if you look through our lens and how we support industrial manufacturers, our focus is supply chain and logistics. So two aspects in how we help you as an industrial manufacturer. One of those is our Oracle implementation services. So we have a leading implementation practice where we implement Oracle's leading solutions around warehouse management cloud, transportation management, and global trade management. Maybe you're running one of those solutions today. Maybe you're evaluating it. I'll at least throw a plug in that Oracle has their annual user group coming up for transportation management, global trade, and WMS in Minneapolis, Minnesota here at the end of this month. So hope to see some of you all there. It's their premier event. And this is the first year ever that they have WMS Cloud a part of it. So we'll be there in a big way. We'll be spending a lot of our time today talking about FlexiPro and how it's an enablement platform for Oracle and industrial manufacturers. We'll talk about how our mobile solutions enhance and extend Oracle. We'll talk about our label printing solution called FlexiPro Label. So it's an enterprise-grade label printing solution. AI, that's a huge thing right now. And Oracle has some awesome capabilities around the AI Agent Studio that we continue to collaborate and align on, and how we can build out AI agents to support industrial manufacturers. And also our disconnect and offline capabilities. So Oracle or Intellinum FlexiPro is the only solution in the market that provides a single platform and UI across Oracle, SCM, and WMS Cloud. When you look at that from a perspective, we provide all the standard capabilities within Oracle, SCM, and WMS out of the box. And then we also build industry-specific extensions. So Arvin's going to spend some time today highlighting some of those and how our extensions support industrial manufacturers. Now, Oracle is a powerhouse in regards to development. So as an Oracle customer, you get updates on a quarterly basis. We stay closely in line with Oracle product development, and as any new capabilities come in, like, for example, inventory, there's a new advanced inventory capability where we're going to align with Oracle, enable those, so you as a customer, you get to take advantage of that every quarter and every year, and we're always going to stay aligned with Oracle. Some of the key features that we really differentiate and bring to the table with our platform and how we can support industrial manufacturers, kind of a couple core areas. There's more than this, but I wanted to highlight three. I think our personalization and our platform is really powerful for industrial manufacturers. So this gives you the capability to be able to streamline processes, automate transactions, reduce clicks. I have examples of customers that have taken something that may have taken 17 clicks and making it one barcode scan. So making your users more efficient out there on the shop floor or in the warehouse. This also enables you to build industry-specific or business-specific processes and requirements to you. Been doing this a long time. Every manufacturer, every shop floor is different. This is going to give you your secret sauce that you need to remain competitive and differentiate in the market. And as your business users are asking for requirements, you have a platform that you can quickly deliver those changes to. So it's very agile and scalable platform. Also, our disconnected capabilities. So if you're a 24/7 manufacturer and you still need to operate on the shop floor, our solution enables you to be able to do that real time and update Oracle Cloud during any patches that may happen. And then offline capabilities. We always recommend, inside the four walls that you have Wi-Fi infrastructure, but maybe there's a business specific use case where you need offline capabilities, maybe in the yard or maybe out in the field, or maybe you need to manage consumables or assets or inventory on a truck. Our solutions can operate offline for those use cases. And then whenever you get back into connectivity, it's going to sync that back up to Oracle Fusion. So those are a couple of the key differentiators that I think really help y'all as a customer and just give you a platform to always stay ahead. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jim, and he's going to talk about some of the key challenges, Oracle solution, and then from there, we'll turn it over to Arvin. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, thanks, John. Being the Gen Xer in the group and 27 years of experience in mobility, I was digging the Tears for Fears and Journey at the start there. So thanks to Eric for the throwback for me. But in that time, seen a lot of change in industrial manufacturing, and really, there's a lot of broad challenges that face the industry. Everything from, and we kind of hit on it, fluctuating customer demand. I think one of the things, even kind of beyond that, requiring companies to be agile is things like maybe some of the tariffs today, and just maybe a little bit more of a fluid environment that we're in. I thought it was really interesting, the aging legacy systems, and really not really surprising. I've talked to a lot of customers, and they highlight that as something that really is limiting their ability to scale and to innovate. They've got maybe green screen AS400 systems, or systems that have just been around so long that their talent pool for even being able to manage those systems is becoming limited. So those are some of the key areas from the industry. Operationally, customers want that real-time visibility to be able to see things like stockouts and overages, and be able to have that up to the second visibility. And a lot of times we see things where manual data entry, it's not only slows throughput but increases errors. And every time you have an error flow through the system, there's the kind of the 110-100 principle of being able to, if the first person can solve the problem, it keeps 10 people from having to fix it. So we very much believe in being able to capture information in real time at the point of activity. And then from a compliance perspective, we see more and more complex regulatory compliance issues and some of the things like whether it's fines or even just traceability needs that go across compliance. So definitely companies are very, very interested in making sure that they've got a process that allows them to not only meet their specific business needs, but also those compliance needs so that they can stay compliance with any industry that they're in. And then, top it off with labeling needs, goes right along with those compliance needs. And we work so much and so closely with Oracle, and really our product is really intended to lay over the top of Oracle and really be that mobility UI layer. And there is a great white paper. If you see the QR code and want to scan that, great white paper that Oracle did, and it really focuses on how they are meeting the demands of the technology requirements. Again, a unified platform that allows for one, digital transformation, but two, scalability. And again, that focus on aging legacy systems. Oracle really becomes that one platform for the future to allow you to really never run into those scalability issues in the future. From a functionality perspective, being able to continually get compounding value out of the functionality that Oracle continues to offer through their roadmap. Being able to address compliance needs and really the AI and machine learning insights that are gained. Oracle's making such a huge emphasis of that, and I think it's key in making sure that companies not only are able to kind of use maybe even go from old world planning to now really being able to get deep insights into their customers' demand, into their suppliers' ability to deliver, and so that they can meet their customers' needs at the right time and really in a very efficient way.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you,
So
Jim.
from there, yep, go ahead, Arvin.
No, thanks, Jim, for highlighting the challenges our industrial manufacturing customer face and how Oracle Cloud SCM can support them. Um, Good morning, everyone. I'm Arvind Batwal. As John introduced, I lead the SCM practice within Telenum. In my role, I'm responsible to ensure the delivery of our FlexiPro products for our clients. I work very closely with the client's operation team, understand their business requirement, and work with them to build the solution. So in next 10 to 12 minutes, I'm going to take you a few slides where we talk about different business use cases that we have seen for this industry and how FlexiPro application can be configured to meet those requirements. First thing that I would like to start with is with the generation of lot and serial number. Many customers need different ways to generate lot numbers for the incoming shipments. Some use standard Oracle sequence generation rule. Some carry forward vendor's lot number as their own lot number. And some build it with a combination of, let's say, PO number or a facility or a receipt date, and so on. What we can do with FlexiPro application is we have obviously we connect with Oracle the way if you want to use Oracle sequence generation rule, we offer the support. At the same time, our application is configurable to meet any of the additional lot number generation rules that you may have for your business. We offer the same set of flexibility for any products that are serial controlled. Like if you take an example, if you're receiving an industrial pump and you want each of those items to be serialized right at the time of receipt, so you can track it through storage, inspection, and delivery. We offer the way to capture the serial number as it's coming on the product, or if you want to generate your own serial number, we can enable those rules as well. During implementation, our team worked very closely with the operations team to understand what are their specific needs around lot and serial number generation, and then we can always configure our application to meet those specific needs. Coming to lot attribute collection, along with capturing lot number and serial number, FlexiPro application can also help you collect and validate additional informations like expiration date, manufacturing date, or if you want to collect any custom attribute at the point of receiving, that could be tagged to a specific lot number or a serial number. Next one I have is bulk receipt and put away. Now this process is ideal when you're receiving a large consignment of same product that needs to be moved quickly from receiving dock to the storage location. For example, if you take if a customer is receiving multiple pallet of casting parts, we have configured our application to allow receiving clerk to bulk receive all pallets in one single step and automatically generate unique pallet ID for easy put away. Right. This process is also commonly used when you are receiving shipment of items that does not need lot or serial information. So what we can do is we can display the open PO quantity in a table format on a mobile UI. They can validate, fill in, adjust the quantity, and then receive all the items in a single go. Many times clients use it even to receive the expense items as well. In terms of barcode support, FlexiPro makes inbound scanning easy by offering support for commonly used barcode format, including code 128, data matrix, or GS1 128. This support is offered not only for inbound, but any transactions that you intend to do with the application, with our application. In terms of document and image capture capability, this allows your staff to capture photos or document during receiving. And what we do is we attach it with the respective document in Oracle once the receipt transaction is complete. Like if you take a use case where a shipment arrives damaged and receiving operator can take photo with the scanning device, and they can immediately attach it to the receipt transaction, thereby as well as they can trigger a quality hold for the product that have the damage. Another practical example we have seen for this functionality is taking photos of your packing slip or BOLs during receiving and saving them with the receipt. So there is no need to keep or handle those extra paper copies. You can always refer back to the transactions in Oracle and then retrieve the copies of those documents. Last one on the list for inbound I have is the custom put away rules. FlexiPro allows you to extend standard Oracle functionality by assisting users in determining the correct put away location for the goods. Now, put away rules could be as simple as defaulting the item transaction default as supported by standard Oracle. Plus, it could be like a use case where you say that I just want to see when I'm receiving a particular item, I want to see where it's currently stored in warehouse, what sub-inventory, what locator it is stored in. So you can guide your operator to go and store the goods in the same place. That gives you the opportunity to keep all the similar items in a single place or in a closer vicinity. Or what you can do is you can use our application to even define more complex put away rule where you want to segregate items by different item types or specific needs. One use case that we have seen for a manufacturer is they receive heavy parts on skids which were routed to the floor stock for storage. While they also received some sensitive electronic items that were automatically routed to the climate control racks, all triggered at the time of receiving. So to close on inventory, inbound operations, our team has delivered many such extensions for different clients. Again, these are few that we have listed out. Some additional use cases include our support for conversion that you're going to see Jason and Vishnu explain in the case study. Displaying product images during receiving, as well as we provide visual warning for heavy or hazardous items. Together, this enhancement make your receiving process faster, safer, accurate, and more compliant, so product can move to the right place. Next slide. Yeah. Next, let's talk about some of the common functionalities we support for our customers in the manufacturing area. Starting with the order picking process, we offer full support for order picking, whether the picking request is generated through a work order, sales order, or transfer order. Beyond standard picking, what we do is we work very closely with your customers to understand what their physical process is, and what we have ability to do is to configure a picking app to meet to match your physical process with the activities that you would perform in the application. At the same time, enhance some of the application functionality, so you don't have to carry the paper along as you are going and picking the goods out in the warehouse. One of the use cases that I can share here is that one of our manufacturing customer needed to pick material for multiple work orders at the same time, similar to cart picking functionalities that you have in warehouse, where you have one big cart and different bins where you are picking the parts for different work orders. What we did was we designed a guided order pick app that directed operators to the warehouse to pick the materials efficiently based on locator pick path sequence. And what that did was it allowed them to really save time during their picking operation, reduce paperwork, as well as reduce the travel time, distance. What we also offer is a unified mobile interface to support all type of manufacturing methods. Now, if you know, Oracle Cloud Manufacturing support discrete process as well as like flow manufacturing. You can define your work order based on what your manufacturing needs are. And what we have is a single unified user interface that allows you to transact all different manufacturing method through a single user interface. Not only that, we also have support for all different work order types that covers standard to repair to rework work orders. Our app also ensures that any specific rules, checks, or validations needed for each work method or work order types are automatically enforced in the background as you are doing the transactions. So your operators can focus on the task without worrying about mistakes that may happen. On manufacturing side, we also, as John said, we stay aligned not only on manufacturing side overall with our FlexiPro application, we stay aligned with any of your Oracle setups that you have in place. It could be lot and serial generation rules or even collecting quality data as you have defined in your Oracle quality module, triggering any of the quality action based on the quality inspection results. Plus, we can check for any missing components as you are completing the work order. We do all kind of checks around substitutes and even allow you to do over completions as needed. Another interesting use case I have is there are use cases that we have seen for customers where they want us to integrate to third-party applications or their in-house application during a manufacturing transaction workflow. One of the example that we recently worked with on one of our customer, which is a drone manufacturing company, is that anytime a drone is getting manufactured and produced during the manufacturing process, they have to associate two unique identifier to the drone, one being the MAC address, other being the serial number. Now, MAC address is something that they store. They have to buy it from the registered authority, and then they store it in their internal database. What we do is during the time of manufacturing, we integrate our manufacturing application to retrieve the next applicable MAC address and generate a serial number in our application, tie both of them, and then connect it not only in Oracle as well as in their internal database. So all of those integration back and forth, we can do real time with our application, this being one of the example. Last one on the manufacturing side, John already touched upon it. Disconnect mode, it's a very powerful solution. It can keep your operations running 24/7. Many of our industrial manufacturing customers are 24/7, and this comes in very handy when Oracle application is going down for maintenance, patching, or any quarterly upgrades. We also have published a white paper on this topic. You can visit to our website or reach any one of us to learn how we can help keep your operation running without any interruptions. Okay, last one to cover the topics around outbound and inventory management. Order picking we already looked at in the manufacturing slide. Next one on the list is the advanced picking workbench. Now, once order lines are pick confirmed, Oracle Inventory allows for a single or a multi-level packing operations for finished good into outbound container. What we do is we leverage Oracle structure, but we provide a very user-friendly workbench, or what we call a packing workbench, which allows user to pick individual finished good quantities and pack them into container. Not only we support a single level packing, you can use our packing workbench to do multi-level packing, pack individual units into box or cartons, and then cartons into pallet. We also have built application to allow you to load those products through by scanning containers as opposed to doing the loading or doing the ship confirmation based on item in the corresponding quantity. Also, as part of once you complete the packing activity, we have our label printing solution that can print labels which you can associate and scan it for any next scanning activity. On cycle counting side is another area where we have seen different processes or different businesses have drastically different needs. A lot of it depends on what type of products have to be counted. Also, what are the internal audit rules around cycle counting? Over the years, what we have done is we have developed several enhancements in this area, and we have made it part of our standard offering. One of the key features we developed include doing simpler things like arranging the count by item number. So all the count requests for an item can be grouped together. Arranging the count sequence by locator pick path, or even supporting ad hoc cycle counting for certain areas of the warehouse. Cycle counting becomes more difficult when you're dealing with serial numbers or serial control items. In this case, many times businesses don't want to count and scan each serial number. It just becomes a very tedious exercise. So for one of the customer, what we have done is we allowed them to do the counting, visual counting, do a data entry in our application. We validate it in the background, and then if there is a discrepancy, we force them to go and enter or scan each individual serial number. Label printing, again, John touched base a little bit on that one. We not only have our own proprietary label printing software, but we can also interact with any other commonly used label printing system that you may already have in place. Along with that, what we have is a label rules engine that we offer. This rules engine lets you determine which label format to use for for a specific business flow, as well as for a specific customer or a particular operation. The idea here is that just like you have a rules engine in WMS, what we do is we allow you to define certain qualifying criteria, and you yourself can decide what label format to be used in those certain criteria. Eventually, we submit, evaluate those criteria in the runtime and makes a label print request right at the time of completing the transaction. The last point that I would like to highlight is how we connect manufacturing process with the outbound flow of goods. Many of our customers have their warehouse separate from their production site. When finished good comes off from production line, they are moved straight to the staging area and loaded into trailer for transfer to a 3PL or a warehouse. What we have done, working side by side with our clients, is we have built a solution that makes all of this pretty easy. It lets you complete work order into container, prints label, allows you to move product to the staging, thereby doing the pick release and pick confirmation, load them, and eventually ship confirm. All of those being achieved with a very minimal user input. So to sum it up, our goal from FlexiPro team is to simplify and automate any of your critical processes so your teams can work faster and with fewer errors. With that, I'll now hand it over to Jason and Vishnu to talk about how we have implemented FlexiPro solution for Taylor Corp. Jason, over to you.
Thank you, Arvind. Thanks for having me. I am Jason Rigg. I'm global process owner with Taylor. And I am based out of Colorado, but as John pointed out, I am in Florida. Although he did miss a couple of points, I think this is going to be very beneficial as I'm 12 hours hours removed from my last cocktail, and I'm getting a good respite of UV exposure. So my health, thanks you, John. This is my third ERP implementation, and definitely the most complex of the transformations that I've gone through. So I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about the uniquenesses and even some complexity that Taylor presents that cause some implementation challenges. And I'll try and focus a lot on how FlexiPro, the FlexiPro tool, really helped us with that. So, John, if you wouldn't mind going to that first slide. It's just kind of a generic Taylor overview slide, and just to kind of give you a breadth of what Taylor does. So we manage customer critical information, whether that's through invoicing or customer account information. We produce anything that's branded. So it can be pens, it could be shirts, it could be documents, right? Labels. We do all of that printing. So what we'll be focusing on is our first business unit that we have piloted with the supply chain piece of Oracle Fusion is a printing division. So a lot of printing. And so what you'll see is kind of some jumbo rolls in the raw material and different aspects. But from a more global standpoint, some challenges within the organization as we try and set a global design, even as we roll out business units so that we aren't setting ourselves up for failure in the future, is Taylor has dozens of legal entities and about twice that number of business units. So that structure really sets the stage for some challenges, not only as we roll out the first business unit, but then upcoming within the project. A point that we learned to kind of help deal with the structural complexity is to have a clear definition, or as clear as we can get on a day-to-day basis, of what direction we want the organization to go. And specifically, what do we want to be when we grow up? If you don't have an answer to that, you're just answering questions day by day and letting maybe a process or a decision early on set the direction of the organization rather than the strategy. So just a comment that we've noticed in our couple years of doing this. A few things to break out as we kind of talk through that. Oh, sorry, John, just one more second here. Is the legacy systems we relied on previously was really all the reporting came from the general ledger, right? And so clearly defining what statutory versus management reporting and kind of breaking those mindsets. And on the operational standpoint of how we interact on those transactions really drives our capabilities of being able to get away from general ledger reporting as our main management reporting tool. Taylor also has a kind of an entrepreneurial culture. So that required massive input and communication efforts within the leadership. So many leaders have historically been kind of empowered to make all the decisions for the business units. And a single platform and configuration kind of changes the shift and shifts that mindset a little bit to whereas we still want to empower them, but we are going to have to conform to a standard process, right? So there's some processes that we need to be able to automate so that everybody's doing it a similar way, but we're still achieving what's needed for each business unit. And a lot of that came from finding the line of what's a competitive advantage versus a value add versus just repetitive required actions, right? You go to leadership and you find out what they feel is a competitive advantage. And it's kind of interesting, the gap that you would if you were just sitting in a business class versus what leadership might feel is a competitive advantage. Thanks, John. So when we kind of look at the matrix of considerations, we really need to align our client relationships, which in many cases are decades long, with the organizational structure of a very mature business. So when we talk about the business unit, that's a printing industry that's obviously been around for 50 years, 60 years. Our founder and owner, still Glenn Taylor, he actually started the business with a printing company, right? And then through the course of time, through acquisitions, kept buying more and more companies. And that's why there's so many different legal entities, so many disparate legacy systems. A lot of those systems, as many of you put on the poll, are outdated. And so trying to find a way to update those and not just do a lift and shift of technology, but really change the organization to fit a future model of technology as well. So clients could be across multiple business units, which could be different legal entities as well. And within Taylor, there's hundreds of product categories. So whether you're talking about printing of a label or printing of a form or doing customer critical communication through email, or they're doing promotional products, right? All of that stuff could be within one client, but across multiple legal entities. How do we best connect with the client and align the proper proper profitability, there we go, of sales credit while minimizing complex billing, right? So a legal entity with multiple credits and different things. Now, with that foundation laid, let's start looking at how Taylor's leadership and with Intellinum and the FlexiPro tool kind of come together. So various primary operating models have different requirements. So again, our printing division has a different requirement of raw material, for example, as maybe our promotional product. And so we still want a seamless process for a receiver. So a receiver in one building can receive in another building and it's the same process, but there's different things that need to be captured in different ways. So I think Arvind spoke about the different ways that lot creation can come into play. And in our case, we will see that as well. We used automatic lot generation as well as in certain cases based on our product information management, our PIM system, a setup of, hey, we have to capture a lot from the supplier. So it's much more serialized, I'll say, of tracking. And then the level of finished goods storage versus direct ship can drastically change what that primary operating model looks like. Thanks, John. I won't go over this whole slide since we already discussed some of it, but current battery systems, there's around 100 of them right now. And across the 100 different boundary systems, it consists of a little over 3 million items, unique SKUs. Identifying ways to operationally transact to minimize the number of SKUs is required, but a significant effort. And streamlining those processes across primary operating models is a key way for Taylor to kind of reduce the number of items that are required instead of using like a single item across multiple client or a single item per client, maybe a single item across multiple clients is one way. Another driver of increasing item counts is the boundary systems and the packaging and versioning. We'll talk a little bit about this. I think Arvind mentioned it as well. And while versioning is more easily to be solved out of the box with Oracle Fusion, packaging is more of a challenge. The industry is much more flat, so there's a lot of small players. And so getting consistent packaging isn't always something that we get, right? So we might be dealing with a company that has 5 to 10 employees, but they're the best at making that specific niche. Well, this time they might make it at 2,500 per carton, but next week they don't have that size carton, so they put 2,750 in it, right? Something crazy like that is not uncommon in our industry. Highly customized legacy systems also makes the change manager really difficult to sell to the end user. They're used to being able to push a button that's specific for their role. And now we're saying, hey, we're moving to an ERP system that's standard across many different industries. You might have to do things a little bit different, or maybe your entire job role might change a little bit, right? Intellium's FlexiPro tool makes some of the automation, especially on the production floor, more standard. So even though on the back end, Oracle Fusion might not be as custom as the current system that they're on, it does allow for some of the customizations to take place in the background. Final point on the slide around the reporting, because it really ties into commingled inventory. So you kind of see that on here. So commingled or the reporting piece, commingled inventory basically says, hey, we have a single legal entity that has to have statutory requirement at the balance sheet. But we might have a warehouse that has 5 different legal entities inventory in there. Well, we don't want a swivel chair there. We don't want to be able to or have to transact between multiple entities. We want a single way to transact all of those legal entities. So how can we do that without having multiple inventory orgs? How do we put it away into the correct sub inventory that ties to that legal entity? So some of that stuff is kind of future sight of how we look to utilize FlexiPro in helping us solve for that. Thanks, John. So we'll go through each one of these transactions, and not unlike when we were going through this process, I'm going to heavily rely on Vishnu because he's fantastic to work with, and I'm sure he regrets John's sales pitch that said, "Hey, we can do just about anything with FlexiPro," because I think I probably put him to the challenge on that. But I'll let him speak to that. Hopefully not too poorly of me. So, but we'll kind of go through each one of these. The receiving transaction, which kind of lot creation and tracking, and then the packaging unit of storage. One of the things on receiving is we wanted to print a label up front at the point of receiving, but we also wanted the lot number on that. Well, Oracle Fusion doesn't assign that lot number until the put away. So Vishnu in the FlexiPro tool, we created kind of a temp table holding spot for that temporary lot code so that when it's received, we could capture that lot code, print the label, and then upon put away, that same lot code would then be applied to the inventory. Put away, we also use, since Oracle Fusion doesn't have kind of a license plate a methodology like WMS would, we wanted to still utilize that functionality. So instead, we're using kind of a receipt number as kind of that inbound license plate to be able to put away that specific role. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Raw material to WIP. There's some challenges I'll talk about more on the next slide, but the raw material to WIP causes some challenges with our long run business unit. And you'll see hopefully a picture of what that looks like. And then moving product back from WIP to raw material is an area that I think may be useful to other industries as well, if you just kind of expand not the specific product that we're dealing with, but I think it's useful in multiple of our business units. I'll put it that way. Thanks, John. So here on the left, we can see a FlexiPro receiving and put away label that Arvind was referring to, and this is straight from production. So that writing on there is actually a gentleman in Omaha that we trained not too long ago that did the writing on that, and you can see various things on the barcodes here. So on the left side, running vertically, is the receipt number, and that's kind of serving as the license plate that I mentioned. And then you can see at the bottom part, which is the lot number, which in the case of what you see right here, this is jumbo rolls. So on the right-hand side, you see the jumbo rolls. Each one of those rolls weighs about 2,000 pounds. But each roll has what's called a TAPI number, which is a control number that comes from the mill. So we can track all the way back from whatever we produce, all the way back to what mill, the date that it ran on, all the way back to our supplier. And so that's called a TAPI number. And we made the strategic decision to make the TAPI number the lot number. But not all items have a TAPI number. It's only a paper item. So if we have non-paper items, we automatically generate that lot code. If we have paper items or other serialized tracking items, I should open it up a little bit, then we can require that lot number is scanned at the point of receipt so that we can keep track of each individual roll at the TAPI number. You can see the item number in the top horizontal barcode, and the right vertical barcode is the quantity. So the picture on the right is kind of important for some of the future slides, just so that you get a picture in your mind as well. So the locator system in this picture is by rows of stacked material. So this picture shows 6 different locators. So you can kind of see that far back, and then moving forward, there's 6 different rows of stacked paper. Additionally, this particular item can be used on multiple work orders at once, and may have 40,000 or 100,000 pounds of paper required for each job. So that could be 20 or 50 jumbo rolls for a particular job. The pick process in Oracle will attempt to allocate all the material needed for that job, which causes a few problems. So first, the job may take a week to run, maybe 2 weeks to run, and could be running the same time as another job using the same raw material. Well, one job could lock up the entire inventory or a large part of the inventory, and not allowing for the second job to be able to allocate inventory. So you then have to clear out old inventory, or you have to clear out the requirement, the allocation, before you can start running the second job, which is a very manual process. So we might even have more raw material coming in, and it's still going to lock it up. It's not going to parse out the needed inventory correctly. A raw material handler could also pull, cannot pull like the specific lot or TAPI that's being required or being allocated, because the likelihood of Oracle actually choosing that top front stack TAPI number when all of that product has been received together, it most certainly won't pick that correct roll. So in order for us to do that, we have to say, hey, we need to be able to free up what lots we're choosing and let the raw material handler do it. However, we will let the system say, pull from this locator, because this locator, based on FIFO rules, all of these rules came in together. We want to use this up first, but it's not going. We aren't going to follow the specific lot number that it recommends because of how the allocation works. So more to come on solving for that problem in the future slide. I think I'm going to let Vishnu take some of these slides here. So Vishnu, if there's anything you want to add on what I previously said, or you can just jump right in here.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. That was great. And yeah, I really enjoyed working with you. I'm Vishnu Agrawal, Director of Technology Services at Intelnum and part of the FlexiPro SCM practice. I'd like to share some of the key functionalities that Jason was mentioning, and walk you through the screens we developed and some of the functionalities. The first one here is the PO receiving. And in this screen, you can see the regular information, which is capturing the PO number, supplier, PO item number, open quantity, etc. But the key functionality that we enhanced here is the unit of measure conversion. Out of the box, we get a list of the unit of measure for receiving. So if someone wants to receive in a unit of measure that is different than what the item unit of measure is, they can select that unit of measure. But here, giving visibility to the conversion itself really enhanced the capabilities of the receivers. So here you can see in the top line where it is showing for this specific item, one counterweight is equal to 100 pounds. So that helps the receivers, and they can select the unit of measure that they want to receive. The second capability here that Jason was mentioning as well was capturing the lot number upfront. It's a two-step receiving, which means they receive and they put away in separate steps. And out of the box, again, lot number is captured during the put away. And here we needed to add a custom field to be able to capture the lot number upfront, so that any label that was generated from here included the lot number. And the lot number could be generated automatically based on the PIM attributes that Jason was talking about, or it could be manually keyed in as well. So this generated, this gave the ability to generate the label that could be directly used during the put away process and also for the transactions later on. If you want to add anything, Jason, to this, or can go to the next slide.
No, this is great. Thank you, Vishnu.
Yeah. This is the put away screen here. And again, here it is a very simplified put away. You just scan the receipt number and it will populate most of the information from the receipt, which included the PO number, the item, the quantity that is available for receiving, and lot numbers. The operator or the user, all they needed to do was just next slide, please. Was just enter the put away quantity and the locator. So if they needed to receive it in multiple locators, all they needed was just to scan the receipt and keep entering the quantities and the locator they want to put it away. The lot number would default from the previous receipt, and that would be captured in the standard lot number field in Oracle for inventory traceability. Then go to the next screen, please. Okay. This is the flow. Jason, do you want to talk to this flow?
Sure. Yeah, this is a simplified version of the design flow that Vishnu and I and Taylor and Intellinum worked through, showing three different system swim lanes. Top swim lane is Oracle transactions. Middle swim lane is FlexiPro transactions, and the bottom swim lane is our shop floor control system transactions. There's two green boxes shown here, and those are the two custom screens we're about to go through. The first green box really feeds off the previously called out challenges, like specifically Oracle's allocation of the full work order when utilizing the standard work order pick transactions. And so instead, we worked through a custom screen that takes into account, hey, how much raw material is needed, how much raw material is in the locator, and what's that WIP locator's capacity through dimensions, and we'll see that on the next screen. The second green box is the return material from WIP to raw material and adjusting actual quantity as needed. So many jobs within Taylor's pilot business unit doesn't consume the full roll quantity, so a partial roll is used. In this case, that remaining product would need to be returned. In some cases, I guess I should say. We'll see that on a few slides, but first, the question is asked, is the actual quantity less than the system quantity? If yes, then it adjusts out for quality. So there's a logic behind that we can kind of go through if there's any questions, and because we could have a bad section of material within the roll. If no, then their next question is there enough material to return to stock? So we have products that it's very little left on the roll, and we call them butt rolls, and they can be used for setup or different things, but we don't put them back as usable raw material. So if we don't return it to stock, then it adjusts that remaining quantity out for scrap. If yes, then it moves the material back to raw material, and then requiring a locator. So it's a way for us to return from the machine and then basically doing a quick cycle count inventory adjustment as we're moving it back into raw material, so we don't have an inflated view of inventory and run out of inventory when we have the most critical stuff. So Vishnu, anything you wanted to add here?
No, I think that's good, Jason. Can go to the next slide. Yeah. So this was the screen, raw material, material movement screen to move the material from raw material inventory to the WIP location. And this gives you the capability of FlexiPro to develop a complex BI-based solution. And the key functionality here was to allow the operators to easily manage the material movement without having to do any calculations, etc., to manage the shop floor space. What the operator could do was they could search based on different criteria, like the work order priority, the locators, the work order dates, or the work order number. The locators here were mapped to the press number. In the picture, one of the slides, we saw a different printing press. So the locators, which are on the work order, they were mapped to the press numbers where the raw material was going to be consumed. Based on the search criteria, the work orders and their open requirements would be listed. So for example, here, based on a set of criteria, we see here locators, P199, P234, etc. Those correspond to the press number where the work order will be processed. Priority is the work order priority. So if they have work orders that are laid out for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then they would prioritize it for week 1 processing, and those work orders would be pulled in here so that the space is better utilized in the WIP area. Then it gives the work order number, the item. Item is the raw material that will be consumed on that work order. Suggested move quantity is the calculation. We'll go into that. Open quantity is the work order open requirement for that raw material. WIP quantity is the quantity that is already on hand in WIP area. And the open move order quantity is the move orders that are open for transferring the material from RM to WIP. Locator max is the capacity of the locator in volume, and assembly is the parent item that is processed on the work order. So basically on this screen, the open quantity constitutes the demand from the work orders, and the WIP quantity and the open move order quantity, those constitute the supply. So the difference between the two is the requirement to move the material from RM to WIP. Now, before moving the material, it compares to the locator capacity, which is set up in the locator. In Oracle, we have a locator where we set up the locator capacity in volumes, cubic feet, and we have item attributes, which captures the item volume, and the locator max is calculated using those two dimension information. And if the net requirement exceeds the locator capacity, then the suggested move quantity will be to move to the locator max. And if the net quantity was less than, net demand quantity was less than the locator max, then it would suggest to move the required, the net required quantity. So that way it is already taking care of all the calculations and all that the from a user perspective, right? All they needed to do was just enter the search criteria, which will list out the requirements and the suggested move quantity, and all they would need to do was just select the option that they want to move, select the line they want to move, and submit that transaction. So it really simplified the material movement process to WIP area and to manage the WIP space. Anything you want to add, Jason?
No, you're doing great, Vishnu. Thank you.
Okay. And then this next slide, this functionality here is the reverse. Whatever is the remaining raw material in WIP area, and we saw a slide here which was showing those jumbo rolls, which could have anything from a few thousand pounds of raw material in each roll. So after the consumption, after the raw material was consumed on the press, whatever is the remaining quantity, how do we know how much quantity is remaining and what do we do with that? So on this screen, if you see towards the middle of the screen, we have a field which shows measurement, where we see a number of 35. So all the operator would do is they would measure the diameter, the outer dia of the remaining paper roll. And based on that dia, there's a formula behind the scene. It would calculate and come up with the actual quantity. So here we can see the measurement translated into an actual quantity of 1006. And in the top portion, the expected quantity is showing us 1070 pounds. So the expected quantity is what is tracked in Oracle inventory and what is on the movement request, on the existing movement request. Now, in compared to that, if the actual quantity is less or more, and sometimes the actual quantity may be so less that it may not be worth to move it back to stock, and the operator has the ability to make a decision. They can choose whether they want to return it back to stock. So you can see return to inventory could be a yes or no, or they could say that, okay, we don't want to return it to stock. If they choose to return it back to stock, then the actual quantity would be transacted on the move order, and the delta, the difference between the expected and the actual, would be adjusted out as business reason. So there's an account that is mapped, so it will automatically use the transaction adjustment transaction. Same way, if the operator chooses to not return anything to stock, then automatically based on the actual quantity, again an adjustment transaction would be performed, as well as the existing movement request, because they are not going to be returned to stock, the existing movement request would automatically be closed. So all the operator again in this screen would need to do was enter the measurement and a decision of whether to return or do the adjustment. And that way the raw material that was left over in those rolls could be easily reconciled for an accurate inventory. Jason, anything you want to add?
I mean, I could talk about this screen forever, but in the spirit of time, no, I think you did great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you so much, Jason. I know we're up on time here, so I'll wrap it up very quick. Appreciate you guys walking through that. So again, the solution that we walked through and how we support industrial manufacturers today is FlexiPro, comprehensive suite across all of Oracle. It's hosted and built on OCI infrastructure. So this solution sits in your Oracle SCM pod. That's in Atlanta, or if it's overseas, wherever, we sit right there next to it. Works across multiple devices, Android, iOS, Windows Mobile, VMUs, whatever it may be. And I think the biggest differentiator that we bring as a partner is the team that delivers the solution. You get folks like Vishnu that have been implementing Oracle, SCM, EBS, Fusion for over 20 years. Very strong delivery team that helps work closely with you to make you successful. And we have really close alignment with Oracle product development. As you receive your quarterly updates, our solution is always going to upgrade and move forward with you. And if you want to learn more, Jim created an awesome white paper here recently. It's out on our website. If you scan this, it'll take you right to this blog. So we'd love you to take a look at that. And it covers on a lot of things that we focused on here today. So with that, I know we're a minute over time. Really want to thank you all for taking an hour out of your day today. And Jason, for taking an hour out of your vacation and PTO. Thank you so much. It was really great to hear your story. So with that, if there's any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer those. And thank you all so much. Hope you all have a great rest of the week.